The fluorescent lights in the underground clinic flicker like dying stars. Elena Moretti has learned not to notice anymore. 3 years working in this basement operation beneath a laundromat in South Chicago, and the unreliable electricity is the least of her problems. She checks the IV bag on bed 3, adjusting the drip rate for Mrs. Chen, who came in with pneumonia she can't afford to treat at a real hospital. No insurance, no papers, no options except places like this. Elena understands that desperation intimately. Her own nursing school loans sit like boulders on her chest, crushing a little more each month when the bills arrive. The clinic isn't legal. Not exactly. Dr. Marcus Webb runs it from the shadows, treating people who can't or won't go to legitimate hospitals. Gang members with gunshot wounds, undocumented workers with broken bones, women fleeing situations where hospital records could be weaponized against them. Elena tells herself she's helping people, that the moral ambiguity is worth it if it means a diabetic grandmother gets insulin or a construction worker's infected hand gets saved from amputation. She tells herself this every single day. The money helps quiet her conscience. $400 a shift, cash, no taxes. Enough to make minimum payments on her $70,000 in student debt while sharing a studio apartment with 2 other women in a neighborhood where gunshots provide the evening soundtrack. Enough to send a little home to her mother in Cleveland, who's raising Elena's 7-year-old nephew after her sister disappeared into the addiction that swallows people whole in their Rust Belt town. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. Tonight is quiet. Unusually so. Dr. Webb dismissed the other nurse an hour ago, saying they were overstaffed for a slow Tuesday. Now it's just Elena, Dr. Webb in his office doing paperwork, and Mrs. Chen sleeping off her fever in bed 3. The door at the top of the basement stairs opens with its familiar creak. Elena looks up from her medication log, expecting maybe a regular patient. Instead, 2 men descend. The first is massive, 6'4", with shoulders that barely fit through the doorframe. He wears an expensive suit that's been tailored to accommodate both his build and what's almost certainly a weapon beneath his jacket. His eyes sweep the clinic with professional assessment, cataloging exits and threats. The second man is being half-carried by the first. Younger, maybe early 30s, dressed in dark slacks and a white shirt now stained with vomit down the front. His head lolls, eyes rolling back, skin the color of old newspaper. "Help him," the big man says. His voice carries an accent Elena can't quite place. Russian, maybe. Now. Elena's training kicks in before fear can paralyze her. She's already moving, guiding them toward bed 1, the one closest to the crash cart and emergency supplies. "What did he take?" she asks, helping ease the semi-conscious man onto the bed. His skin is clammy under her hands, pulse rapid and thready when she checks his wrist. "I don't know," the big man says. "Found him like this 20 minutes ago." Elena's fingers work quickly, loosening the man's collar, tilting his head to ensure his airway is clear. His breathing is shallow, pupils constricted to pinpoints when she checks with her penlight. The clinical picture assembles itself in her mind with terrible clarity. Opioid overdose. "Dr. Webb!" she calls toward the office. "I need you now." The man on the bed convulses slightly, a terrible gurgling sound coming from his throat. Elena recognizes that sound. She's heard it before in the ER during her clinical rotations. The sound of someone drowning from the inside as their respiratory system shuts down. She has maybe 3 minutes before brain damage becomes irreversible. Maybe 5 before death. Dr. Webb appears in the doorway of his office, taking in the scene. His expression shifts. Something Elena can't read flickering across his face. Not panic. Something else. Something calculated. "Stabilize him," Webb says, but he doesn't move to help. Just stands there, watching. No time to question it. Elena snaps into action, muscle memory from 1,000 training scenarios taking over. She grabs the nasal cannula, fitting it quickly and turning the oxygen to 15 liters. The man's lips are starting to turn blue. "I need Narcan," she says, moving to the medication cart. "Wait." Dr. Webb's voice cuts through her focus. "Let's assess the situation first." Elena spins to face him, disbelief and fury warring in her chest. "He's overdosing. Opioid toxicity, classic presentation. If we don't reverse it in the next 2 minutes, he's going to stop breathing entirely." "I said wait, Miss Moretti." The patient convulses again, his back arching off the bed. The big man who brought him in hasn't moved, just stands there with his arms crossed, watching. Not panicked, not pleading for help. Watching. Something is very wrong here. But the man on the bed is dying, and Elena took an oath. Not officially. Not yet. She still has 6 months before she can take her boards and get her RN license. But she swore it to herself the day she started nursing school. First, do no harm, and standing by while someone dies absolutely constitutes harm. "I'm sorry, Dr. Webb, but no." Elena unlocks the medication cart, her hands shaking as she finds the Narcan. The intranasal spray, faster acting than injection. She preps it quickly, approaches the bed. "Miss Moretti, I'm ordering you to stop." She ignores him, tilts the man's head back, inserts the spray into his nostril, administers the full dose. Then she waits, counting seconds that feel like hours. 10 seconds. The man's breathing is still shallow, still wrong. 15 seconds. No change. 20 seconds. Elena prepares a second dose, knowing that severe overdoses sometimes require multiple administrations. 25 seconds. The man on the bed gasps, a huge shuddering breath that sounds like life returning. His eyes fly open, pupils dilating rapidly as the Narcan floods his system and rips the opioids off his brain's receptors. He jackknifes upward, disoriented and panicked. Elena's ready for this too. Narcan saves lives, but the abrupt reversal often sends patients into acute withdrawal. Agitation, confusion, sometimes violence. "You're okay," she says firmly, hands on his shoulders, not restraining but grounding. "You're safe. You overdosed, but you're going to be fine now. Just breathe." The man's wild eyes focus on her face. They're dark brown, almost black, and in them Elena sees intelligence reassembling itself behind the chemical fog. He's not a regular user, she realizes. His body's reaction is too extreme, too unaccustomed to the substance. This was a first-time overdose, or close to it. "Who are you?" His voice is rough, scraped raw from vomiting. "I'm Elena. I'm a nurse. You're in a clinic. You're safe now." He stares at her for another long moment, something shifting in his expression. Then his gaze moves past her to where Dr. Webb stands. "Interesting," the man says. His voice is stronger now, the Narcan working its chemical miracle. "Very interesting." Dr. Webb's face has gone pale. "Mr. Constantine, I can explain." Mr. Constantine. The name detonates in Elena's mind like a grenade. Even in her world of student loans and double shifts, even in her carefully constructed ignorance about who exactly uses this clinic and why, she knows that name. Alexei Constantine, head of the Constantine family, one of the 3 major organized crime syndicates operating in Chicago. Drugs, weapons, protection rackets, and half the construction contracts in the city. The man she just saved is a Mafia boss. The man who's been lying still and silent this whole time, the one Elena assumed was a bodyguard, steps forward. "Everything you needed to know, you now know," he says to Alexei. His accent is definitely Russian. Dr. Webb failed the test. Test. The word clicks into place with horrible clarity. The convenient timing. Dr. Webb's order to wait. The bodyguard's strange calm. This wasn't a real overdose. This was staged. A loyalty test. A competence test. Something to see how the doctor would react when his most dangerous patient appeared to be dying. And Dr. Webb had been willing to let it happen. Elena's legs feel suddenly unsteady. She reaches for the bed rail to steady herself, medical training warring with the realization of what she's walked into. "You tested him," she says slowly, looking at Alexei Konstantin. "You faked an overdose to see if he'd save you." "Not faked," Alexei corrects, swinging his legs over the side of the bed. He moves carefully, like someone relearning their body after trauma. "The dose was real. Pharmaceutical-grade heroin, measured. Precisely to induce overdose symptoms without quite crossing into fatal territory. Though, I'll admit, your Dr. Webb's hesitation brought me closer to that line than intended." He stands, and Elena realizes he's taller than she'd thought. Maybe 6'1", with dark hair and angular features that would be handsome without the pallor of recent near-death. His eyes, now fully focused and alert, pin her in place. "You disobeyed a direct order from your superior," he says. "Why?" "Because you were dying." The answer is simple, obvious. "I'm a nurse. That's what we do." Many nurses would have followed the doctor's orders. Hierarchy, chain of command, not overstepping boundaries. Alexei takes a step closer. "You chose the patient over your employment, over your own safety, given that you had no idea who I was or what saving me might cost you." Elena's mind races, trying to understand the game being played here. Should I have let you die? Most people in this room were willing to. He glances at Dr. Webb, whose face has gone from pale to gray. That's what I needed to know. The big Russian moves to stand beside Webb, a clear message in his positioning. The doctor is in trouble. Serious trouble. "Mr. Constantine, please," Webb starts. "I was following protocol, waiting for proper assessment before administering." "You were waiting to see if I would die," Alexei interrupts, his voice cold as lake ice in January. "Because you've been skimming medications from the supply I provide to this clinic. Selling them on the side, and a dead boss is much easier to hide that from than a living one." Webb's mouth opens and closes, but no sound emerges. Elena feels like she's watching a play she doesn't have the script for. This clinic, which she thought existed in a gray area of medical ethics, is apparently funded by the Constantine organization. The medications she's been using to treat patients, supplied by criminals. Dr. Webb, who she'd believed was a flawed but ultimately good man trying to help the desperate, is a thief stealing from the Mafia. And she just saved the life of one of the most dangerous men in Chicago. "Miss Moretti," Alexei says, turning his attention back to her. "You're dismissed for the evening. Victor will ensure you get home safely." The big Russian nods. Elena should feel relief. She should take the escape being offered. Instead, she hears herself say, "What's going to happen to Dr. Webb?" Alexei's expression doesn't change. "That's not your concern. If you're going to hurt him because I disobeyed his orders, I'm going to hurt him because he's been stealing from me for 6 months." Alexei's voice remains perfectly calm, which somehow makes it more terrifying. "Your actions tonight saved both yourself and him from worse consequences. If you'd obeyed his order to let me die, you'd both be joining me in whatever comes next. As it is, you've demonstrated something valuable." "What's that?" "Integrity. Even when it's inconvenient. Even when it might cost you everything." He gestures to Victor. "Take her home. Make sure she arrives safely." Elena wants to argue, to demand answers, to understand what she's just stumbled into. But Victor's massive hand is already gentle but firm on her elbow, guiding her toward the stairs. She looks back once. Alexei Konstantin stands in the middle of the dingy clinic, looking like something dark and powerful that doesn't belong in the fluorescent light. His eyes meet hers across the distance. "Thank you," he says quietly. For my life. Then Victor is guiding her up the stairs, into the night, into a black SUV with windows tinted so dark the interior is almost invisible from outside. The drive to her apartment happens in silence. Elena's mind can't stop replaying the last 20 minutes. Can't stop seeing Alexei Konstantin's eyes when he woke up. Can't stop hearing Dr. Webb's pathetic attempts to explain. Can't stop wondering if she just saved a man who deserves saving. Victor pulls up outside her building, a rundown 3-story walk-up in a neighborhood where most of the streetlights are broken. He puts the car in park but doesn't unlock the doors. "You did good thing tonight," he says. His English is heavily accented but clear. "Boss will remember." Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Victor's smile is brief but genuine. With Mr. Constantine, usually good thing. He values loyalty. Values people who do right thing even when it costs them. I just did my job. Most people, they forget job when scared. You didn't forget. Victor unlocks the doors. He will want to see you again. When he asks, you should come. It's not quite a threat. Not quite a promise. Something in between that Elena doesn't know how to interpret. She climbs out of the SUV, legs shaky now that adrenaline is fading. The vehicle pulls away the moment her door closes, disappearing into Chicago's night traffic. In her apartment, her roommates are both asleep. Elena sits on her narrow bed in the dark, still wearing her scrubs, still smelling like the clinic and vomit, and the chemical sharpness of Narcan. Her phone buzzes. Unknown number. The text is simple. Your final paycheck from the clinic will be delivered tomorrow. You no longer work for Dr. Webb. V. Elena stares at the message. Just like that, her $400 shifts are gone. The money she needed to stay afloat, to keep sending help to her mother, to keep treading water in the ocean of debt threatening to drown her. She should be terrified. Should be planning her next move, updating her resume, figuring out how to replace that income. Instead, she keeps seeing Alexei Konstantin's eyes when he woke up. The intelligence there. The assessment. The strange gratitude. He will want to see you again. Elena doesn't sleep that night. She lies in the dark, listening to the city, wondering what she's walked into, and whether saving one life has just destroyed her own. 3 days pass like holding your breath, underwater. Elena picks up extra shifts at the county hospital where she works part-time as a nursing assistant, the legitimate job that barely covers her rent. The work is exhausting and pays a fraction of what the clinic did, but at least no one tests their loyalty by faking overdoses. She tells herself she's relieved to be done with that world. Tells herself the knot in her stomach is just stress about money, not the memory of dark eyes focusing on her face as life returned to them. Thursday afternoon, she's restocking supply cabinets on the 4th floor when her supervisor finds her. "Elena, there's someone here to see you," says it's personal. Karen's expression is curious, slightly disapproving. Personal visits aren't encouraged during shifts. "Who is it?" "Didn't give a name. Just said you'd want to speak with him. He's waiting in the family consultation room." Elena's pulse kicks up. She knows somehow before she even walks down the hallway. Knows by the prickling awareness on the back of her neck, the same instinct that tells you when you're being watched. The family consultation room is meant for doctors to deliver bad news in private. It's small, windowless, with comfortable chairs that are supposed to soften the blow of tragedy. Victor stands beside the door like a sentinel, his bulk making the space feel even smaller. And in one of those comfortable chairs sits Alexei Konstantin. He looks different than he did 3 nights ago. No vomit-stained shirt, no death pallor. Today he wears a charcoal suit that probably costs more than Elena makes in 6 months, his dark hair styled back from his face. He could be any successful businessman waiting to hear about a family member's surgery, except for his eyes. Those eyes carry too much knowledge, too much darkness, to belong to anyone legitimate. "Miss Moretti," He stands when she enters, a gesture of politeness that feels wrong coming from a man who commands an empire built on violence. Thank you for seeing me. Did I have a choice? Elena glances at Victor, who closes the door, sealing them in together. There's always a choice. Alexei gestures to the chair across from him. Please, sit. This won't take long. Elena remains standing. If this is about Dr. Webb, Dr. Webb is no longer your concern. Or mine. Alexei's tone suggests the matter is closed, and Elena decides she doesn't want to know what that means. I'm here about you. I don't work for you. No, you don't work for anyone currently. The clinic was your primary income, correct? 400 per shift, twice a week minimum, sometimes 3, when Dr. Webb needed extra coverage. The fact that he knows her exact pay rate shouldn't surprise her. Men like Alexei Konstantin know everything about everyone in their sphere. Still, hearing it spoken aloud makes her skin prickle. I'll find something else. I'm sure you will. You're 6 months from your RN license, top 15% of your nursing program despite working 2 jobs, and you have excellent clinical instincts. He tilts his head slightly. Though I'm curious why you're not finished yet. Your cohort graduated last May. Elena's jaw tightens. This is the part she doesn't talk about, the failure that still burns. I had to take a semester off. Financial reasons. Your mother's medical bills. Her breath catches. How do you... Your mother, Susan Moretti, was diagnosed with breast cancer 18 months ago. Stage 2. Caught relatively early. Treatment at Cleveland Clinic. She's in remission now. But the bills were substantial. Alexei's voice remains neutral, reciting facts without judgment. You withdrew from school to work full-time, sent every dollar home. By the time you could return, you'd lost your scholarship and had to take out additional loans to finish. Elena feels violated, exposed. This stranger knows the worst moments of her life, the desperate choices, the nights crying in hospital bathrooms between shifts because she couldn't be there when her mother was scared and sick and alone. Why are you telling me this? Her voice comes out harder than intended. To prove you did your homework? To show me you know everything? Congratulations. You're very thorough. I'm telling you this because I understand sacrifice. Alexei stands, moving closer, not threatening but intense, in a way that makes Elena's heart rate spike. I understand what it means to put family first, even when it costs you everything. And I'm telling you this because I'm about to make you an offer, and I need you to understand that I know exactly who you are and what you need. I don't want anything from you. Don't you? He pulls a folded paper from his jacket pocket, extends it to her. Read it first, then decide. Elena takes the paper like it might burn her, unfolds it to reveal a job offer letter, printed on heavy cream cardstock with a letterhead that reads, Konstantin Medical Services. The salary listed makes her vision blur. $80,000 annually. Full benefits. Health insurance, dental, vision. Student loan repayment assistance up to $20,000 per year. Sign-on bonus of $10,000. This is insane, she whispers. It's fair compensation for the position. What position? There's no job description. Private nurse, Alexei says. For me, specifically. I have a medical condition that requires regular monitoring. I need someone competent, discreet, and trustworthy. You've demonstrated all 3 qualities. Elena looks up from the paper. You want me to be your personal nurse? Yes. Because I saved your life during a fake overdose you staged to catch your doctor stealing from you. Because you saved my life when you had every reason not to, Alexei corrects. You didn't know who I was. Didn't know if helping me would cost you your job, your safety, your future. You helped anyway because it was right. That's rare in my world, Miss Moretti. Rare enough to be valuable. The paper feels heavy, in Elena's hands. $80,000. She could pay off her highest interest loans in 2 years, could help her mother, could send money for her nephew's school supplies without calculating whether she can afford groceries that week, could sell her soul to a criminal. What's the medical condition? She asks, buying time to think. Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, inherited heart condition. The walls of my heart are abnormally thick, which means I'm at risk for arrhythmias, sudden cardiac death. I take medication daily, need regular monitoring, occasional EKGs. He says it matter-of-factly, like discussing the weather. It's why the overdose test was particularly dangerous. Opioids can trigger fatal arrhythmias in patients with my condition. If you hadn't administered the Narcan when you did, I likely would have died regardless of Dr. Webb's intentions. Elena's medical training kicks in automatically. You need to be under a cardiologist's care, electrophysiologist specifically. Regular monitoring means echocardiograms, Holter monitors, possibly an implantable defibrillator depending on your risk stratification. I have all of that, Alexi interrupts. Dr. Sarah Chen at Northwestern, excellent physician. I see her quarterly. What I need is someone available daily for medication management, blood pressure monitoring, recognizing early warning signs of complications. He pauses. And someone who can be trusted not to discuss my medical vulnerabilities with people who might use that information against me. There it is. The real reason. He doesn't just need a nurse. He needs someone who won't tell his enemies that his heart could stop at any moment, that he's not invincible, that he has a weakness someone could exploit. I'm not qualified to manage complex cardiac patients. I'm not even a licensed RN yet. You will be in 6 months. Until then, you work under Dr. Chen's protocols. She supervises remotely. Alexei crosses his arms. I'm not asking you to practice beyond your scope. I'm asking you to do exactly what you're trained for in a private setting, for excellent compensation. Elena looks at the offer letter again. The numbers don't change. $80,000. Her ticket out of drowning. What if I say no? Then you say no. Victor drives you back to work, and we never speak again. Alexei's expression doesn't shift. Though I should mention that the county hospital is cutting nursing assistant positions, budget shortfalls. The list goes up next week. You're on it. Her stomach drops. How do you know that? I know many things. It's how I stay alive. He moves to the door, hand on the handle. You have 24 hours to decide. Victor will return tomorrow at the same time for your answer. If you accept, you start Monday. If not, I'll ensure you receive a severance payment equal to 6 months of your clinic salary. No strings, no obligations. Payment for saving my life. I don't want payment for that. Nevertheless, you'll receive it. What you did has value, Miss Moretti, whether you accept my offer or not. He opens the door, Victor straightening to attention outside. One more thing. What? I run criminal enterprises. I won't insult your intelligence by pretending otherwise, but I don't hurt innocent people, and I don't tolerate those who do. The medications you gave to patients at the clinic? They helped people who had nowhere else to go. That continues, with or without you. The work is morally complicated, but it's not evil. His dark eyes hold hers. You'll have to decide if you can live with that complication, but decide knowing that your choice affects more than just yourself. Then he's gone. Victor closing the door softly behind them, leaving Elena alone in the consultation room with a job offer that feels like a deal with the devil. She returns to her shift in a daze, restocking shelves mechanically while her mind spins. By the time she clocks out, she's no closer to a decision. At home, her roommate Jessica is cooking ramen on their shared hot plate. You look terrible, she observes. Rough shift? Something like that. Elena collapses onto her bed, staring at the water-stained ceiling. Her phone buzzes, her mother's number. Hey, Mom. Elena, honey, I have good news. Susan Moretti's voice is bright, happy in a way it hasn't been since before the cancer. The oncologist says I'm officially 2 years cancer-free. We can start thinking about me going back to work part-time. Relief and love flood through Elena's chest. Mom, that's amazing. I know. And honey, you can stop sending so much money. I know you're struggling. Marcus told me about his college fund. Marcus, her nephew. 7 years old with her sister's eyes and a future that depends on adults making good choices. Mom, Marcus needs that money for school. And you need to live your own life, not sacrifice everything for us. Susan's voice softens. I'm so grateful for what you've done, baby. But I'm okay now. Focus on finishing school, building your career. You've given us enough. After they hang up, Elena lies in the dark, the job offer letter folded in her scrubs pocket. $80,000, $20,000 in student loan repayment annually. In 4 years, she could be debt-free. Could help Marcus for real, not just scraping by. Could give her mother the retirement she deserves instead of forcing her back to work at 62 with a body ravaged by chemotherapy. Could work for a man whose business involves things she doesn't want to examine too closely. But he'd been right about one thing. The work is morally complicated, not evil. She'd been treating the same patients at the clinic, helping the same desperate people. The only difference is now she knows exactly who funds that help. Elena pulls out her laptop, searches for Constantine Medical Services. It exists, legitimately incorporated, with a website listing various charitable initiatives, free clinics in underserved neighborhoods, medication assistance programs, scholarship funds for nursing students, all funded by money that comes from somewhere dark. She thinks about Alexei's eyes when he woke up, the intelligence there, the vulnerability underneath the power. He has a heart condition that could kill him at any moment, but he runs an empire anyway. Tests his own doctor's loyalty by risking death because trust matters more than safety. She thinks about her mother, cancer-free but exhausted, about Marcus, who deserves better than a future constrained by poverty, about herself, drowning in debt from the education that's supposed to save her. If you're hooked on this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. The decision forms slowly, inevitably, like water finding the path of least resistance. Friday afternoon, Victor appears at the exact same time, same consultation room. No Alexei this time, just Victor's massive presence and knowing eyes. You have answer? He asks. Elena pulls the offer letter from her bag. She's read it maybe 50 times in the last 24 hours, memorizing every word, every clause, looking for the trap. I have conditions, she says. Victor's eyebrows rise slightly. Tell me. First, I maintain my part-time position at the county hospital. I need to keep my clinical skills current, and I need professional references that aren't connected to the Constantine organization for when I apply for my RN license. Reasonable. Continue. Second, I won't participate in anything illegal. I'll provide medical care, manage his medications, monitor his condition. But if you ask me to do something that violates medical ethics or law, I refuse. No retaliation. Also reasonable. Third, the severance clause works both ways. If I decide this isn't working, I can leave with 60 days' notice and the same severance payment Mr. Constantine offered if I declined. No threats, no consequences, no following me or interfering with my next employment. Victor considers this for a long moment. Then he pulls out his phone, types something, waits. 30 seconds later, it buzzes with a response. He reads it, nods. Boss accepts all conditions. Contract will be revised to reflect these terms. You start Monday, 8 a.m. Address will be sent to your phone. He extends his hand. Welcome to Constantine Medical Services, Miss Moretti. Elena shakes his hand, his grip careful despite his size. I'm doing this for the right reasons. We all tell ourselves that. Victor's smile is brief. But maybe in this case it's true. Boss needs someone who sees him as patient first, boss second. You do that. Is good thing. After Victor leaves, Elena sits in the empty room, trying to identify the feeling spreading through her chest. Not quite relief, not quite dread. Commitment. The sense of having crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. She texts her mother. Got a new job. Better pay, better hours. Details soon. Love you. Then she goes home and starts researching hypertrophic cardiomyopathy until her eyes blur. If she's going to do this, she's going to do it right. Alexei Konstantin might be a criminal, but he's also a patient who trusted her with his life. She won't betray that trust, even if she's not entirely sure she hasn't just betrayed herself. Monday morning arrives with the weight of inevitability. Elena stands outside an address in Lincoln Park, one of Chicago's wealthiest neighborhoods. The building is red brick, elegant and understated, with security that probably costs more than her annual salary. Her phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Penthouse. Victor is waiting at the private elevator. She enters through glass doors that open automatically, crosses a lobby with marble floors and modern art, finds Victor exactly where promised. Ready? He asks. No. Yes. The elevator is fast and silent. When the doors open, they reveal not a hallway but a foyer that opens directly into a penthouse apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcase the Chicago skyline. Furniture that's clearly custom, art that belongs in museums, and everywhere, the sense of money so old and established, it doesn't need to announce itself. And standing by those windows, looking out at the city he partially owns, is Alexei Konstantin. He turns when the elevator chimes. He's dressed casually today, dark slacks and a white button-down with sleeves rolled to his elbows. No tie, no jacket. He looks younger somehow, more approachable, until you see his eyes. Miss Moretti. He crosses to her, extending his hand. Welcome. His grip is firm, warm. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Konstantin. Alexei, please, if you're going to be taking my blood pressure and monitoring my heart, we should probably dispense with formality. A slight smile touches his lips. Unless you prefer the distance? Alexei, then. And you can call me Elena. Elena. The way he says her name, with careful attention to each syllable, makes something flutter in her chest that has nothing to do with professional boundaries. Let me show you your workspace. He leads her through the penthouse, Victor following at a discreet distance. The medical room is a full setup: examination table, EKG machine, medication refrigerator, supply cabinets stocked better than some hospital units Elena's worked in. Dr. Chen specified everything you'd need, Alexei explains. If something's missing, tell Victor. It'll be here within the hour. Elena moves through the room, cataloging supplies, checking medication expiration dates, orienting herself to the space. Everything is top tier, organized, professional. This must have cost a fortune to set up. Health is worth any cost. Alexei leans against the doorframe, watching her work. Especially when your heart could stop without warning. The clinical detachment in his voice when discussing his own mortality is jarring. Elena turns to face him fully. How long have you known about the condition? Since I was 16. My father died from it when I was 12. Sudden cardiac death during a business meeting. One moment he was talking, the next he was gone. Alexei's expression doesn't change, but something shifts in his eyes. Genetic testing confirmed I inherited the same mutation. I've been on medication and monitoring ever since. I'm sorry, that must have been traumatic. It was educational. He pushes off from the doorframe. I learned that power is meaningless if you can't stay alive to wield it. That vulnerability is permanent, but how you manage it determines whether it's a weakness or just reality. Elena studies him, this man who built an empire while carrying the knowledge that his body could betray him at any moment. Is that why you tested Dr. Webb? Because you needed to know if he'd save you or let you die? Partially. Also because I suspected he was stealing, and watching someone's choices when my life hangs in the balance tells me everything I need to know about their character. Alexei meets her gaze directly. You passed a test you didn't know you were taking, Elena. Most people fail even when they know they're being evaluated. I didn't do it to pass a test. I did it because it was right. I know. That's why you're here. He glances at his watch. We should start with baseline assessments. Dr. Chen wants current vitals, EKG, medication review. Then I'll let you settle in. The next hour is purely clinical. Elena takes his blood pressure, slightly elevated, 138/88. Pulse, regular but elevated at 92. Temperature, oxygen saturation. She runs a 12-lead EKG, noting the expected changes from left ventricular hypertrophy, but no acute abnormalities. Through it all, Alexei is a model patient. Cooperative, honest about symptoms, occasional palpitations, no chest pain, no syncope, compliant with his medication regimen. He's also intensely aware of her in a way that makes Elena's hands less steady than they should be. Your technique is excellent, he observes as she places EKG leads. Very efficient. I've done this a few thousand times. Elena tries to maintain professional distance, but she's acutely conscious of touching his skin, the warmth of his chest under her fingers, the way his breathing changes slightly when she leans close. Did they teach you bedside manner in nursing school, or is that natural talent? They teach it. Why? Because yours is exceptional. You manage to be both clinically competent and genuinely compassionate. It's rare. He's watching her face instead of the monitor. Most medical professionals choose efficiency over humanity after a while. Self-protection mechanism. Elena meets his eyes, sees something there that makes her breath catch. Not attraction, exactly. Recognition, maybe. Two people who've learned to survive by building walls, suddenly aware that walls can be lonely. The EKG looks good, she says, retreating to safe ground. I'll send it to Dr. Chen for review, but I don't see anything concerning. Good. Alexei sits up, buttoning his shirt with practiced ease. Victor will show you the apartment. I've had a room prepared for you, though you're not required to live here. The choice is yours. I have an apartment. I know. I'm offering an alternative. The room is yours regardless, for when you're working late, or if there's an emergency. He pauses. This job will require flexibility, Elena. Irregular hours, occasional middle-of-the-night calls if I have symptoms. Having you on site makes everything easier. But again, it's your choice. Elena thinks about her studio apartment with water stains and broken windows. Thinks about the safety of distance versus the comfort of proximity. Can I see the room first? Alexei's smile is genuine this time. Of course. The guest suite is larger than her entire apartment. Bedroom with an actual queen bed, sitting area, full bathroom, even a small kitchenette. Windows overlook the city, the view worth more than Elena will make in a decade. This is too much, she says. It's practical. You're on call 24/7 essentially. You should be comfortable. Alexei stands in the doorway, giving her space to explore. Take your time deciding. For today, just get familiar with everything. Victor will make sure you have building access, parking if you need it, keys to the medical room. He turns to leave, then pauses. Elena? Yes? Thank you. For saying yes. I know this isn't simple, and I know you're probably questioning the decision every minute. But I meant what I said about integrity. It matters to me. You matter to me, as a person, not just a medical professional. His expression is serious, almost vulnerable. I'll do everything I can to make sure you never regret this choice. Then he's gone, leaving Elena alone in a guest suite that costs more per month than she makes, working for a man who somehow manages to be both dangerous and disarming. She sits on the edge of the bed, looking out at Chicago sprawling below, and wonders what exactly she's gotten herself into. Her phone buzzes. Dr. Chen's number. Miss Moretti, I received the EKG. Everything looks stable. I wanted to welcome you to the care team and let you know I'm available anytime you have questions or concerns. Thank you, Dr. Chen. I appreciate that. Alexei speaks very highly of you. Says you saved his life without hesitation, even when it might have cost you everything. A pause. He needs someone like that. Someone who sees him as a patient first. The job will be challenging, but if you can maintain those boundaries, you'll do well. After the call ends, Elena lies back on the impossibly comfortable bed, staring at the ceiling. Patient first, boss second. She can do that. She's trained for it. What she's not trained for is the way her heart rate increases. When Alexei looks at her, the way his rare smiles make her want to earn another. The way his vulnerability, carefully controlled and rationed, makes her want to protect him from the dangers he's spent his whole life managing alone. That's not medical. That's personal. And personal, in this world, might be the most dangerous complication of all. 2 weeks into the job, Elena establishes a routine that feels almost normal. She arrives at the penthouse each morning at 8, checks Alexei's vitals, reviews his medication compliance, asks about symptoms. Professional, clinical, safe. Except nothing about this situation is safe. She learns his patterns, how he takes his coffee, black with 1 sugar, always in the same navy blue mug. How he works from his home office most mornings, his voice carrying through the penthouse in rapid Russian or occasionally Italian when he's negotiating with associates. How he exercises at 6 a.m. without fail, using the gym equipment in a room she hasn't been invited into, emerging afterward with damp hair and flushed skin that makes her remember to look away. She learns the warning signs of his condition, the subtle pallor when he's overworked, the way his hand drifts to his chest when palpitations hit, a gesture so automatic he probably doesn't realize he's doing it, the tension in his shoulders when stress makes his blood pressure spike. She learns to read him like a patient chart, which should make things easier. It doesn't. Your blood pressure is elevated again, Elena says on a Thursday morning, removing the cuff from his arm. 148/94. That's the 3rd time this week. What's going on? Alexei doesn't look up from the tablet he's reviewing. Business complications. Business complications that are going to trigger an arrhythmia if you don't manage your stress better. Elena makes a note in his medical file. I'm recommending you increase your beta blocker dosage. I'll call Dr. Chen for approval. No medication changes. I need to stay sharp right now. You need to stay alive right now. Elena sets her pen down with enough force to make him look up. Your heart doesn't care about business complications, Alexei. It cares about electrical signals and blood flow and cellular oxygen. Push it too hard and it stops working. Permanently. Something flickers in his dark eyes. Not anger. Respect? Maybe. You're very direct. You hired me for my medical judgment. This is it. Whatever's happening in your business world, it's not worth dying over. That's where you're wrong. Alexei sets the tablet aside, giving her his full attention. Some things are exactly worth dying over. Loyalty, family, the people who depend on you to keep them safe. He pauses. But you're right that I need to manage it better. What do you recommend? Besides the medication increase? Actual stress reduction? Exercise helps, but you need more. Meditation, maybe. Or therapy. Alexei's laugh is short and sharp. I don't think my therapist would. Survive the first session once they understood what I actually do for a living. Then talk to someone who already knows. Victor seems like he'd listen. Victor is my head of security, not my confidant. Then talk to me. The words are out before Elena can stop them. Alexei's eyebrows rise slightly, surprise crossing his features. You want to be my therapist now? That's outside your job description. I want you to have healthy coping mechanisms that don't involve your blood pressure hitting stroke levels. Elena keeps her tone professional despite the heat creeping up her neck. You don't have to tell me details, just talk about the stress in general terms. Sometimes saying it out loud helps. Alexei studies her for a long moment. Then, unexpectedly, he nods. There's a situation with a rival organization, the Bellini family out of New York. They're pushing into territory that's been neutral ground for 15 years. If we don't respond, we look weak. If we do respond, it escalates into open warfare that will get people killed. His jaw tightens. People who work for me, people with families, people who trust me to make smart decisions that keep them breathing. Elena absorbs this carefully. She's been avoiding thinking too hard about what exactly Alexei's business involves, but the reality won't stay abstract forever. Is there a third option? Between looking weak and open warfare? I'm working on it. That's why the stress. He rolls his shoulders, tension evident in every line of his body. Diplomacy is complicated when both sides know violence is always the alternative. Can I try something? Elena asks. What? Cardiac coherence breathing. It's a technique that helps regulate heart rate variability, which can lower blood pressure and reduce stress response. Takes about 5 minutes. Alexei looks skeptical, but nods. Show me. Elena guides him through it, having him breathe in for 5 counts, out for 5 counts, focusing on the sensation of breath moving through his chest. She keeps her voice low and steady, the same tone she uses with anxious patients in the ER. Feel your heartbeat slowing, your shoulders relaxing, the tension releasing. Alexei's eyes are closed, his breathing falling into the rhythm she's setting. In repose, without the constant vigilance that usually marks his expression, he looks younger, almost peaceful. Better? She asks after 5 minutes. He opens his eyes, and something in his gaze makes Elena's breath catch. Yes, better. His voice is quieter than before. Thank you. That's what you pay me for. No, I pay you for medical care. This is something else. He stands, close enough that Elena can smell his cologne, something subtle and expensive. You care. Not because it's your job, but because you actually give a damn whether I live or die. Of course I care. You're my patient. Is that all I am? The question hangs between them, dangerous and electric. Elena knows she should step back, should reinforce professional boundaries, should do anything except stand here looking into dark eyes that see too much. What else would you be? Her voice comes out barely above a whisper. Alexei's hand comes up, not quite touching her face but close enough that she feels the warmth. I don't know yet, but I'm starting to think we both need to figure it out. Then Victor's voice calls from the living room, shattering the moment. Boss, they're here. Conference call in 5 minutes. Alexei steps back, the mask of control sliding back into place so smoothly Elena almost wonders if she imagined the vulnerability. We'll continue this later. He leaves her standing in the medical room, heart pounding against her ribs in a way that has nothing to do with professional concern. That afternoon, Elena escapes to her shift at the county hospital, needing the familiar chaos to clear her head. She's restocking crash carts when her supervisor Karen finds her. Elena, can we talk? My office? The tone makes Elena's stomach clench. She follows Karen into the small administrative office, taking the offered chair. I'm going to be direct, Karen says. Your performance here has always been excellent. You're reliable, competent, great with patients. But I've noticed you're distracted lately. missing details you'd normally catch. Is everything okay? Elena's mind races. She has been distracted, thoughts drifting to the penthouse even when she's here, wondering if Alexei is taking his medications, if his blood pressure is stable, if he's breathing properly during stressful calls. I'm fine, just adjusting to a new schedule with my other job. The private nursing position? Karen's expression is carefully neutral. Elena, I don't know who your client is, and frankly, I don't want to know. But be careful. Private positions, especially ones that pay as well as yours clearly does, often come with complications. I'm being careful. Good. Because you're too talented to get caught up in something that could derail your career before it starts. You take your boards in 4 months. Stay focused on that. The conversation haunts Elena through the rest of her shift. Karen is right. She's losing focus, getting tangled up in something that should be purely professional. When she returns to the penthouse that evening, she finds Alexei in his study, looking exhausted. His shirt sleeves are rolled up, tie discarded, hair disheveled from running his hands through it. "How'd the call go?" she asks from the doorway. "About as well as expected. Which is to say, poorly." He doesn't look up from the papers scattered across his desk. "The Bellini family wants a face-to-face meeting, here in Chicago, next week. Is that good or bad?" "Potentially both." Finally, he looks at her, and the weariness in his eyes makes her chest ache. It's an opportunity to negotiate, but it's also a risk. Bringing their people into my territory, trying to reach an agreement when both sides would rather fight. He pauses. "I'm sorry. You don't need to hear about this." "Actually, I do. If it's affecting your health, it's my business." Elena moves into the study, professional concern overriding the part of her that knows she should maintain distance. "Have you eaten today?" "I don't remember." That's a no. She heads to the kitchen, assembling a simple meal from the provisions Victor keeps stocked. When she returns, Alexei is still staring at papers, but his hand is pressed against his chest. "Palpitations?" she asks, setting the plate down. "Just a few. They passed." Elena pulls out her stethoscope. "Let me check." He doesn't argue, unbuttoning his shirt enough for her to listen. She presses the stethoscope to his chest, closing her eyes to focus on the rhythm. His heart rate is elevated but regular, no extra beats, no alarming patterns. But she's acutely aware of the warmth of his skin, the way his breathing changes slightly when she leans close, the scent of him mixing with her clinical detachment in ways that make concentration difficult. "Sounds stable," she says, pulling back, "but you need to eat and rest, doctor's orders." "And if I don't follow doctor's orders?" "Then I call Dr. Chen and tell her you're non-compliant. She'll admit you for observation, and you'll spend the next 3 days in a hospital bed instead of preparing for your meeting." Alexei's smile is tired but genuine. "You play dirty. I play to win." Elena points at the plate. "Eat." "Then I'm running another EKG to make sure those palpitations aren't indicating anything serious." He obeys, and Elena realizes with some surprise that he trusts her. Not just medically, but actually trusts her judgment enough to follow her directives without argument. That trust feels precious and terrifying in equal measure. The EKG is normal. Elena files it in his medical record, noting the palpitations but no concerning changes. When she looks up, Alexei is watching her with an expression she can't quite read. "What?" she asks. "I was just thinking about how strange this is. Having someone in my space, in my life, who's here because they want to keep me alive rather than waiting for me to die, so they can take what's mine. That's a depressing worldview. It's an accurate one. In my world, trust gets you killed more often than betrayal does." He stands, moving to the window overlooking the city. "But you're different. You've had opportunities to hurt me, to expose vulnerabilities, to sell information to people who'd pay well for it. You haven't taken any of them." Because that's not who I am. I know. That's what makes you dangerous. He turns to face her. You make me want things I can't have. Normal things. Like coming home to someone who cares whether I'm okay. Like having conversations that aren't negotiations. Like trusting someone completely and not wondering when the betrayal will come. Elena's heart pounds. Alexei, I'm not asking for anything. He interrupts. I'm just acknowledging what's happening. Because I think you feel it too, and pretending we don't is becoming harder than admitting we do. If you loved this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story. She should deny it, should reinforce professional boundaries, should do anything except take a step closer. I do feel it, she admits quietly. And it terrifies me, because I came here to do a job, to help someone who needs medical care, not to develop feelings for a patient, especially not a patient whose life is complicated in ways I can barely comprehend. What if I wasn't your patient? Alexei moves closer. What if I found another nurse, someone purely clinical, and you were just you? Would it still terrify you? Yes, because your life is still dangerous, and I'm still drowning in debt and uncertainty, and we're still two people from completely different worlds who have no business wanting each other. And yet we do. And yet we do, Elena echoes. They stand there, inches apart. The admission hanging between them like a bridge neither is quite ready to cross. Finally, Alexei steps back. I won't push this. Your job is secure regardless of whether anything personal develops. And if you want to transfer to a different patient, I'll understand and make it happen without consequences. I don't want that. Then what do you want? Elena takes a shaky breath. I want to keep you alive. I want to do my job well. And I want to figure out if what I'm feeling is real, or just proximity and gratitude and the intensity of your world, making everything feel more significant than it is. That's fair. Alexei's smile is soft, understanding. Take all the time you need. I'm not going anywhere. The meeting with the Bellini family happens the following Tuesday. Elena isn't invited, obviously, but she's acutely aware of the tension radiating through the penthouse all morning. Alexei's blood pressure at 7 a.m., 152/96. She increases his beta blocker with Dr. Chen's approval, but medication can only do so much against stress that's trying to kill him. I want you here during the meeting, Alexei says as she's packing up her medical bag. In the next room. Just in case. In case of what? In case my heart decides today is the day it stops cooperating. His tone is light, but his eyes are serious. Or in case things go badly and someone gets hurt. You're trained for trauma care, correct? Elena's stomach clenches. Emergency care was part of my training, yes. But Alexei, if you think this meeting might turn violent, I don't. But I plan for worst-case scenarios. That's how you survive. He touches her arm briefly. You don't have to stay if you're uncomfortable. Victor can handle medical emergencies. Victor is not medically trained. No, but he's very good at keeping people alive long enough to get to someone who is. The casual way he discusses potential violence makes Elena's head spin. This is his reality. Has been since he was 16 and learned his heart could kill him. Since he was 12 and watched his father die. Violence and medical crisis, twin threats he's learned to navigate with calm efficiency. I'll stay, she hears herself say. But I'm keeping my medical bag close and my phone on Dr. Chen's number. The Bellini family arrives at noon. Elena watches from the medical room as 4 men in expensive suits enter the penthouse. 3 are clearly security, positioning themselves strategically. The 4th is older, maybe 60, with silver hair and the kind of presence that fills a room. That's Marco Bellini, Victor says quietly. He's stationed himself near Elena, Whether for her protection or to ensure she doesn't see too much, she's not sure. Very dangerous man, but smart. He prefers negotiation to war when possible. The meeting happens in Alexei's study, doors closed. Elena can't hear specific words, but she tracks the rhythm of conversation. Long periods of discussion punctuated by sharp exchanges. At one point, raised voices, then silence so complete she fears the worst. Then talking resumes. Lower. More measured. 2 hours in, the study door opens. Alexei appears, looking drained but not distressed. He catches Elena's eye, gives a subtle nod. It went okay. The Bellini contingent leaves with formal handshakes, the kind that seal agreements between men whose word is literally life or death. When they're gone, Alexei collapses onto the sofa. It's done. We have an agreement. Territory boundaries reestablished, neutral zones respected, no escalation. Elena checks his pulse, finds it rapid but regular. How do you feel? Like I just negotiated my way out of a war while my heart tried to kill me. He laughs, slightly unsteady, but alive. Thanks to you being here, giving me something to stay calm for. I didn't do anything. You were here. You cared whether I made it through. That's more than you know. His hand finds hers, squeezes gently. Thank you, Elena, for everything. She squeezes back, professional boundaries blurring into something else entirely. Something that feels dangerously like the beginning of falling. 3 months into working for Alexei Konstantin, Elena sits for her nursing boards. She passes on the first attempt, top scores in her testing center. The congratulatory email arrives while she's checking Alexei's morning vitals. Good news? He asks, noting her expression. I'm officially an RN. She can't keep the smile off her face. As of today, Alexei's answering smile transforms his usually guarded features. Congratulations, that deserves celebration. It's just a license. It's 3 years of sacrifice and determination paying off. It's everything you worked for. He catches her hand. Let me take you to dinner. Properly. Not as employer and employee, but as two people who've been circling something for months without acknowledging it. Elena's heart stutters. Alexei. I know all the reasons it's complicated. I know the risks. But I also know that what I feel for you has nothing to do with convenience or proximity. His dark eyes hold hers. I'm in love with you, Elena. Have been for weeks. Maybe since you saved my life without knowing who I was, or what it would cost you. The admission steals her breath. She should be cautious, should think through implications, should protect herself. Instead, she says, I love you too, and it terrifies me. Good. We'll be terrified together. Their first real kiss happens in the medical room where she's spent 3 months keeping him alive. It's soft at first, tentative, then deepening into something that feels inevitable. When they break apart, Elena's hands are shaking. This changes everything, she whispers, or it changes nothing except we stop pretending. Alexei frames her face with his hands. You keep me alive professionally. Let me figure out if we can build something personal that doesn't destroy either of us. The dinner happens that Friday. A small Italian restaurant Alexei owns, closed to the public for the evening. Just the two of them. Wine and conversation and the careful building of something real. Elena learns about the boy who inherited an empire at 16. Who chose to honor his father's legacy even when it meant navigating dangers that could stop his faulty heart. Who built charitable foundations to balance the moral weight of his business. Who'd been alone for so long that trust felt like a foreign language. Alexei learns about the girl who'd sacrificed everything for family, who'd worked herself to exhaustion to save her mother, to give her nephew a future. Who chose nursing because healing felt like the opposite of all the breaking she'd witnessed. Who saw his humanity before she knew his name. I can't promise this will be easy. Alexei says as they walk along the lakefront afterward, his hand warm in hers. My world is dangerous. There will always be threats, complications, moments where you'll question this choice. I know. Elena stops, turns to face him. But I've spent my whole life playing it safe, and safe just meant slowly drowning. Maybe dangerous with you is better than safe alone. 6 months later, Elena stands in the penthouse that's become home. Her nursing license hangs on the wall of the medical room. Her student loans are almost paid off. Her mother is healthy, her nephew thriving in a good school funded by Constantine charitable programs. And Alexei, her patient, her employer, her love, is alive. His heart condition requires constant vigilance, daily medications, regular monitoring. But he's here, breathing, his pulse strong under her fingers when she checks it each morning. Marry me, he says one evening, the question casual, but his eyes intense. Make this official. Not just my nurse or my girlfriend, but my partner in everything. Elena thinks about how far she's come from that. Desperate nurse in an underground clinic. How saving one life changed the trajectory of her own. How love found her in the most unlikely place, with the most unlikely person. Yes, she says simply, but I have conditions. Alexei laughs. Of course you do. I keep working, maybe not just for you, but for the Foundation's clinics, helping people who need it. Agreed. And you promise to take your medications, follow Dr. Chen's protocols, and stop scaring me with your blood pressure spikes during stressful negotiations. I promise to try. And you trust me? Completely. With your health, your vulnerabilities, your heart in all its meanings. Elena. His hands frame her face. I've trusted you with all of that since the moment you refused to let me die. The marriage is just making it official. The wedding happens quietly. Small ceremony. Immediate family only. Tyler, now fully recovered and starting college, walks Elena down the aisle. Susan Moretti cries happy tears. Even Victor smiles. And Alexei, dangerous and damaged and devoted, promises to love her for however long his complicated heart keeps beating. In the end, Elena Moretti became exactly what she'd trained to be. A healer. A protector. Someone who saved lives. She just never expected one of those lives would save hers right back. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you loved this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.